No, we don't need to use that.
Anybody that comes in will need to be.
No. Yeah, it says everyone. You can tell it was Dawn.
Way to call this meeting to order.
Hey, here, that's Columbia,
Sure.
Crockett, Franklin, Edward,
Yeah.
Ford, here, 4 present, 2 absent.
Then the second is a regular meeting of the city council for Helena-West County. And the mayor will not be present, and unfortunately, several meetings ago, my colleagues voted for me to do this on permanent basis. So I will serve as spokesman. They really like it. Yeah.
Remind issues that begin to be, it will be quite helpful moving the meeting forward.
Yes, sir.
It's my opinion that the city attorney, that you all are aware, the governor emergency order ended in the last week of September, and we had a meeting October 2021, Zoom. This meeting, I believe, is legal, but I want to caution, I think that the city council needs to ratify all actions that were taken. So at the beginning of this, well, I would like the council to make a motion to ratify all actions, measures, motions, resolutions, and ordinances that were adopted in October 5th, 2021 meeting. Yeah.
Motion by St. Columbia, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Davis, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
St. Columbia,
Yes.
Franklin, Crockett, David. Yes. Ford,
Yes.
Edward,
Yes.
Ford, yes. Mrs. Crockett was just coming in, so she didn't know what the motion, Mr. Franklin said.
And so my question is, Mr. Lee, they agree with me about the legal, the meeting was legal. The portion about the city council being able to meet virtually was only related to freedom of expression. All city council meetings, that must be in present. Must be present. The audience, city council, the house will be present. You have now council policies, that's within the code. And so at some point, you will need to address that issue. Zoom meetings are, people are available Zoom, and that is legal, and this is, talk about that, is that, why that is to do, the elected officials here, and those necessary for the meeting to be ran, and then, the meeting is available to the public by Zoom.
Keeping close.
Yes, it's about keeping the public, as well as the media allowed to be in the room.
All right, any comments, discussions on what, on this guy presentation? If not, we need to address the minutes, October 5th and October 19th, that were included in the packet. Everybody home, take a look at those. We entertain a motion, adopt those.
Okay, well, on October the 19th, this is number 4. So I put that on there for the auditors, so we just have October 5th.
October 5th, we minutes are on. To adopt minutes of October 5th, is what's that? Second. Any discussion? Correct. If there be none,
Andrew?
Yeah.
David? Yes. Franklin?
Yeah.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is financial report by the treasurer.
Their term secretary. I think you have the report. Well, I just want a couple of things about that section before. In September, operations for the month. 17%. And we had, January to September. I know that we talk city finances and water department finances. The thing really serious that, I don't think I talked about. You have a landfill bond, somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 a year. And we take city sales tax. So that's money that's not coming to the city until your finish paying the bond. And we want to come back. But we can keep that. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $750,000. We also have street loans. Excuse me, landfill bonds, total bond amount is $8,150,000. There's $1,205 in street payment. Bond we pay off 2024. State term. So that's $150,000 in the street department. So that keeps counting. Oh, what kind of is $150,000? Is it a $150,000? And so that will be finished paying for that. And I don't know if you guys remember, rating actually passed February. And so that was $4.2 billion. And that costs $232,000 in principal interest payment. We also pay about $225,000 to fix the sewer pumps. And so that's $10,000 annually. Those are things that we consider. That's $707. Yeah, I want to bring that to your attention. And so we can start considering those things. We start thinking about some of our cash shortfalls or some of our payroll, payroll stuff. Now, it's getting too hot. And I think the second part of that, well, are there questions about any of the plans?
I have a question.
Okay.
Are there any areas of significant revenue loss for the city? We have several sources of revenue in terms of our projections and where we are. Are there any areas of significant loss or?
Everything's good, I think. Maybe ahead of some kind of conservative, do the weather. And so, we're good on that. Right. I was going to also mention, I think, someone in the Senate, I will issue some appropriated from Western Home. And you guys have appropriated. There's a process for it. So we want to suggest 64. You said we appropriated 300,000, council appropriated 300,000. What was the total amount that proceeds? The record question that. $1,064,093. Now I have one follow-up question when we get to that. Question to you. I know that you said we need projections, but I think 2 meetings ago, we discussed sanitation revenue. It wasn't built on receiving it from the water.
We have been receiving it, I don't know exactly how much. Maybe 2. So we received money. She's been trying to get. Like I said, that's something you need to consider. When you consider they have a bond payment of $250,000.
I was just trying to clear right here, sorry.
Okay, so we received the audit, legislative joint audit, and required by law to regional findings. First findings for the mayor, city clerk, treasurer, and fire chief. So during our review of payrolls, we noted improper payments totaling $6,555. Current fire chief, former fire chief, and assistant fire chief who work performed as holidays. These payments were in addition to holiday pay and were not substantiated documentation that these individuals working holiday. These work holiday. These individuals who work on those holidays, that's what I'm talking about. So we have a form to fix that out.
Mr. President, I know you said you read Arkansas legislative audit.
No, this is for, December 31st, 2020. This was good. Okay, says furthermore, the city was properly paid $1,209 due to the salary increase. However, this increase was not approved by the city council. And so that was, you were properly paid, it was correct, and we got it. Additionally, we know that the fire department employees were overpaid due to error calendar. We recommend the city to reconcile the overtime hours to the term. Similar findings regarding payroll issues. This issue. We were paying the fine holiday pay, we were paying 1/10 of this. The auditors suggested we pay for 8 hours. Because they work. They didn't require us to have one of the during the period, for January 1, 2027. Received total of $6,200. Landfill, Berkeley, 2021. So she quit. Was reported.
And how much was that?
6,000.
You said 6 or 6?
That's fine for the mayor. It's been good into a 6-year financing, so the purpose of the dozer, and comes in with other side. 78-2, which requires short-term financing obligations to the or have a term to exceed 5 years. Discussed it before, so I don't know. Says the city clerk treasurer, the city property transfer the following. Street funds transfer from landfill fund operations totaling $4,000 in non-compliance with Arkansas Code Unit 267904 and 277207. Funds $5,000 from previous years in landfill fund, street fund for a total amount due to street fund of $45,000 and that was a mistake that the deputy clerk made. She deposited the funds. Reconcile account. I can't put it in. I have to put it in the calculation. We know that we just never got around to move it back. So it wasn't intended. They wanted to try to cover costs. It was just a mistake. And restricted advertising and promotion funds are transferred to the general fund for operations totaling $24,000 in non-compliance with Arkansas Code 26. This random project, so I think it was for the sidewalks. In terms of sidewalks.
Yes, all of the cities in Arkansas are sued by the American Disabilities Bureau because they said the sidewalks in most cities are not handicap accessible with regard, and areas are not accessible with regard to festivals. And the attorney fees, were 24,000, which I think out of the tourism funds, the special projects account, because it was a tourism related event. I think that's what the lawsuit is for. The auditors didn't feel like that it's tourist related. The city attorney is asking for a ruling as to whether or not that lawsuit was mainly focused toward festivals. We have transferred the money back into the tourism account from the general fund, but that was strictly for attorney fees. The entities filing the suits throughout the state did not receive anything. That's why we're having to spend roughly $128,000 at city cost to make all the sidewalks downtown and emphasis handicap accessible.
Provide further clarity, the lawsuit was relating to the King Biscuit Blues Festival, but we were the first that was sued that was responsible for doing the sidewalks, being on the sidewalk. The King Biscuit Blues Festival was not ordered to pay anything. This legal represented us, but all the costs were borne by the city. It was not a civil rights lawsuit, so back to the Civil Act lawsuit. There was no access to the stage area, it was specifically complained about the stage and everything, but we, as part of the water, the entire street, so that's what you're seeing now at every intersection of Cherry Street. The city's been doing that as part of that lawsuit.
From the Doughboy
Down to the
Cherry Street, all those, and I was working.
Right, correct. Mr. Lee came here, probably, it was pre-pandemic, and they gave us a year to do it all. And we didn't get it all done within a year at the time, but, right, and we're still working on getting it done, this, right now. But every corner going down Cherry Street, they're redoing to make sure a wheelchair can come up and down the road if necessary.
I got a copy of that, all of it, and I went over it, but it's most of that down the reconcile with the state.
Yeah.
What I've been.
Right. Well, what the attorney having to read, all of y'all should receive the audit in the mail, but he has to do it to read it at a city council meeting openly, so that it can be discussed among the council and in a official meeting. That's what he's going to do.
But we reconcile that with the state now.
Yes.
One more. We'll touch on one. City attorney. We had one district court clerk. District court clerk. He states the district court clerk was non-compliant with outside code mandates, to and other proper accountancy. Cases. Not the adjudication things and all of the for the years 2013 to 2020. That's the bank was 18,790 more, and this is the receipts. Not yet adjudicated and paid. And so, this is for, I wasn't doing their books at the time, and so earlier this year,
Those 8,000 over the course of 8 years, is that correct?
and I think you want to read this, or
If you read it out of plan, because you have a copy. I can read it.
read stuff.
The final was related to what's law process. Now process is a fancy word for dismissal. City was cited, the police chief and district court clerk and district judge was cited. The business case without the city council approval. It says the law document that all citations are not being posted in the court document. The police chief was sent to law cross the unposted citations without involving the city attorney of the court. Arkansas Code Annotation 1685-713 is interpreted by Attorney General opinion, number 2001-298, authorizing the city attorney to authorize citation. These reports are not included. This letter is intended to know this information and use of legislative law. And so, what was happening with this? There were a group of citations that officers military and turning into the court. And Judge King was dismissing them. But they must first come to the meeting, as city attorney, for me to dismiss. When the chief learned of it, a host of tickets to dismiss without me being involved. Honestly, never me, I typically do not know about cases of police officers input, make sure that officer was not disrespected at the scene. And they all this batch of how they were not happening. And that was dismissed. And so the officers cited the chief and the judge because I was not involved in the process. And so that's what that was about. We have a policy. Every ticket that's to be dismissed has to come through me and not go around. And that's what happens in these cases. I don't believe it was intentional. I believe that the officers that said would be slight and dilatory trying to take the lead. And they would have a system of chiefs trying to clear us that with tickets. But we were fighting for that city. I yield back to turn up the who's all providing the law of 2020.
Mr. Evans, a motion that the council has heard the findings and that they accept, the explanation. Yeah.
I shall move that we.
Motion by Senator Colombia, is there a second? Second by Crockett. Any discussion on first?
Davis? Yes. St. Columbia?
Yeah.
Crockett? Yes. Franklin?
Yes.
4 yes. Thank you.
Motion passes. On the whole business, which reference ordinance number 4, this is number 31, resolution 13, I believe we've already dealt with that in a motion.
Yes, you probably right.
Next item on the agenda is going to be under new business, for business to be finalized. And several things.
Followed with an early lead, 53-46
which
over
are
Young.
notified.
Many analysts had,
First up is animal control.
before we get into voting, that Young around 42, 44% to have a shot. So keep an eye on this percentage here and see how it goes throughout the country. Let's come down to, well, here's Prince William. I mean, look, 3 of 1, 3. So you see McAuliffe and Youngkin here. Early, 5,700 votes, 4,900 votes. So we'll just.
The next item on the agenda, Mr. St. Columbia, is animal control update on animal control issued by Mayor Smith. Since he's not here, I just asked the clerk to place it on the next agenda.
Really, circled this county months ago to try and.
31, 32, and 33 in the resolution were ratified
Yes, sir.
under the motion I made earlier.
Yes, sir. You ratified all those.
Okay, so all that's been taken care of.
Correct. As it relates to the ordinance number 41, if I may, Mr. Etherly,
Yes, sir, you may have.
the mayor is supposed to be here to discuss that. The animal container complex, the 12 kennels, the 1 wild animal container and the perimeter. I don't have any information on that. And so I would also ask that to be tabled. Did you have anything on that, Madam Clerk?
No.
I believe those are things for the mayor.
Madam Clerk, we'd ask that that item, this number 41, be placed on the next meeting agenda.
The memorial signage protocol, Mr. Etherly was supposed to get with me. I guess we need to table it, Mr. Etherly, we were talking about. We've already, no, I'm sorry.
You were going to set fees.
Yes, that's what we're talking about, the fees.
And then Ms. Ford had asked that it be put in the official order so that we could all see it and then they vote on it.
It sounds like we
There was
need,
a couple of language, it was a couple of things linguistically that you wanted to be placed in there about it.
I cannot remember. I have to review the
October 5th minute.
October 5th meeting. I remember the discussion, but I don't remember what my comment was. Madam Clerk, would you place that item ordinance number 28 on the agenda for the next meeting?
And as relates to order number 30, Mr. He has not got back with me, so we can table that as well.
Do you want to place it on the next meeting agenda?
That's fine.
Next meeting agenda.
Now we can get to all the waiving competitive bidding. We have numerous of those.
Ordinance number 34, waiving bidding for the fire department air packs, Fire Chief Roderick Brown, copy and packet. Is there anybody who's going to make a presentation for it?
I don't think either. What happened is we didn't get funding for rural development. We applied too late. The air packs came in too soon. And so we have paid the 34, if you approve it, the 34,618 for their air packs out of Act 833, which they had available.
We've already received the
Yes.
air pack.
And pay for them.
No, I haven't mailed the check yet, but I won't if y'all tell me so.
Okay.
So we just need a motion for that. Is that right?
Yes, if it's going to be approved, we'll need a motion.
Okay.
Well, no. There's an ordinance. You gotta-
There's an ordinance. There has to be a motion to suspend the rules, placed on the third and final reading the title only.
Yeah. I'll make that motion if that's.
Okay, is there a second to that motion relating to the fire packs?
Yes, sir.
Motion by St. Columbia, second by Crockett. Place ordinance, oh, it's Davis, I'm sorry. Second by Davis to place ordinance number 34 on its third and final reading title only.
Right.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
St. Columbia,
Yes.
Franklin, Crockett, Davis, Ford. Yes. Etherly,
Yes.
5 yes, 1.
Madam Clerk, will you read the title, please? You have all of them.
An ordinance
second by Davis. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mr. Claus.
Motion by St. Columbia, was there a second? Second by Davis. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll? I'm sorry, Crockett. It's the mask, I can't. By St. Columbia, second by Crockett. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Franklin. Etherly,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yeah.
St. Columbia,
Yeah.
yes, one absent.
Okay.
Mr. Valley, do we need to read the emergency clause?
No, so it just needs to be most voted on. So ordinance number 35 relating to the radios and police cars.
We approved, those radios.
We proved them, they were not included in the financial packet, is my understanding.
Yes.
Okay, so what do we need to do?
Then they said that they moved it on, and the tax rate be approved.
That's what we were told, but that wasn't all the way.
Interestingly enough, the installation for those radios was included in the packet, but the radios were not. So I'm gonna have to pay for the radios out of the general fund because it's too costly to buy and finance the 30,000 or refinance the entire package.
How much does that cost?
30,727. We didn't know it until the salesman called and said, oops, you need to pay for the radios.
So did the contractor, we got, did it change or something?
No,
That's what we did. Everything was.
yeah, it just wasn't in there.
I'm saying, so how do we get to, everything is included, and then when it gets back to the bill, it's not.
I can't explain that. There's a different entity that's putting the radios in, and when the cars got everything put on them, they do the radios. Was included in our financing package, but the radios weren't. So they've had to order the radios, and pending us approving this, then they'll put them in and we'll have the cars.
Well, in our understanding, it was included in the whole package, radios
Yeah,
and
that
the
was our
installation
understanding,
and
but it
everything.
wasn't put in.
But somehow or another, it wasn't included in the
It
bid.
wasn't, the installation was, but the radio itself wasn't.
Okay. But we gotta pay for that, that's gotta be done.
On the paperwork, did it say radios included?
So how did the company include in that? They were included.
Yes, it was explained that they were. We thought they were coming fully loaded and ready to roll.
But there's nothing in the contract that said fully loaded.
So what about the they gave, was it included in that? Nothing, never had the radio.
The radio, the radios on.
So as presented, we have ordinance number 35. Is there a motion to place it on its third and final reading?
I'll make that motion. We need to go ahead and get it closed.
Motion by St. Columbia. Is there a second? Second by Davis.
That's ordinance 35.
Yes, sir. $30,727.20.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Davis. St. Columbia.
Yes.
Crockett. Franklin. Etherly.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
5 yes, 1 absent.
An ordinance in competitive bidding in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated section 1458-303, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract to purchase certain property for the city of Helena-West Helena and for other related purposes. Is there a motion to adopt?
I so move.
Motion by St. Columbia, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Davis. Madam Clerk, was there any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Columbia,
Yes.
Franklin, Crockett,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Etherly,
Yes.
5 yes, 1 absent.
There's any clause, is there a motion to adopt?
I so move.
Motion by St. Columbia, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Davis. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Franklin, Davis,
Yes.
Etherly,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Crockett, St. Columbia,
Yes.
5 yes.
Next item on the motion passes. Next item on the agenda, ordinance number 30, sitting on water sewer repair, emergency vendor Reese Construction. Says Mayor Smith's agenda item, but there's an ordinance in the packet.
This is, Mayor Smith said this is an item that came up as an emergency and he authorized it. It's $9,500 for a pipe and bore and traffic control and mobilization.
It was down on the end of Perry Street, wasn't it? That where you talking about? Perry and Porter,
think
down
so.
in that area?
Yeah. And the water sewer department is going to repay the general fund when they have funds available.
So this already been paid for?
No, the check's on.
So if we ain't voted on this, and then the person there, discussion of it.
Yes, ma'am, it is, the work was done on October 13th.
It's been done.
What you said, Mr. Franklin?
It has been done.
The work has been done?
It was an emergency, and
Yeah,
that's why the
they had
mayor
to do it.
authorized it under an emergency, and then the bill finally came in.
It's down there, I know where it was, I saw where it was. I think that's the same thing.
Okay,
This is in Oakland Street thing?
Oakland, yeah, Perry,
Where's this located, Madam Clerk?
Yeah, that's the whole.
I don't know, the bill doesn't say what the location is. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Well,
if that's it, I think the work's done.
That road belongs to the state, so why would we fix it?
I don't know, which road are you talking about?
On Oakland. It is the same road that I'm thinking of, right there, where, in the vicinity where, Chief Brown used to live.
It's our water pipe. The
Yeah.
water pipe belongs to the city.
at one point
It wasn't a water pipe thing, was
we may be confusing projects, but at one point, Mr. Wyland came and he discussed boring under the road and traffic rules and et cetera
Right.
for Oakland Street. I don't know if this is Oakland Street or not.
I don't either.
But you all had talked to Mr. Wyland about Oakland. I think you all voted on Oakland Street
Yeah,
relating to that. I don't know what this project is. It doesn't have a
if that's
description.
one and the same, then we approve that.
We don't even have a street name on it.
About $15,000.
Mr. Wyland, he said it ended up being less than what you all had appropriated on Oakland Street. I do not know whether this is Oakland Street. There's no description attached to it.
I don't know either.
Well,
That's fine with me. We could,
this was an emergency that had to been done, so,
well, one of the issues that I would like to say that I've sent you all email on, sent the mayor emails on. At some point, there needs to be emergency protocols in place because the mayor cannot declare an emergency outside of his authority, other than when the governor declares an emergency for a particular purpose. I think I've sent 3 emails to that effect or relating to that. And there are emergencies that happen regularly. Now, there has to be a balance between the mayor and city council, because here's the caveat that I would get to city council about the $5,000 spending limit. The caveat as relates to the water utility. The water utility is a public utility, and there needs to be immediate action done and many things that happen with a public utility. And so one of the things about it, I don't know what communication you all are receiving from the mayor when things are happening. I do not know whether you're receiving things instantly. But as it relates to the water company, to the extent that the $5,000 spending limit and the $7,500 competitive bidding limit is not going to be raised, the city council needs to be ready to meet at a moment's notice for emergencies for the water company. Now, I've told the mayor, and I've said in emails to all of you all that that's the emergencies that he's previously declared were outside of the scope of the governor's emergency related to COVID. And he cannot just simply declare emergency to go ahead and do things. We still have policies and procedures that must be followed. Again, I would caution the council also that to this extent you're going to keep the spending limit at $5,000 and $7,500, you all need to be available to meet at a moment's notice in case of emergencies, because the water company is a public utility, and there are many regulations relating to public utilities, and they must function. We must have water to the citizenry of this city, and that's all I have to say on that issue.
Mr. City Attorney.
Well, hold on a second.
Okay, if it is if this is the repair that was gonna open that I'm referring to, I don't know if another. I don't see how that could have been declared an emergency because that had been there 3 or 4 months, because I busted the tire, you know. So I don't see how all of a sudden became an emergency. So that's why I'm asking for clarity of where this location is.
Do you know,
Can we
Mr. City
table
Attorney,
it
where
because we
this
don't have
is,
enough information?
where this is located, this?
No, the paperwork was not given to me, it was given to Madam Clerk. I don't know the precise location. I don't know if Mr. Jones knows, or, well, Mr. Jones wouldn't know, he's not with the water utility. And I do not see Mr. Patterson.
Well, what is, as city attorney, what is your recommendation to the council tonight on this, ordinance 36?
I think the council needs clarity. I think it's clear. I can't tell you, and you all don't know, so I don't know how you vote on something you don't know any information about.
Right.
Is
So
it possible to table it because we don't have enough
we may,
information?
yeah, let's table it till the next meeting,
Davis,
get some kind of clarity to it.
that would come in the form of a motion. Is that a motion to table?
Yes, sir.
Motion.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Davis to table this agenda item until the next meeting, second by St. Columbia. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Davis,
Yes.
St. Columbia.
Yeah.
Crockett,
Yeah.
Etherly,
Yes.
Ford. Yes. 5 yes.
Okay.
It's ordinance number 30. I believe. Yes.
Ordinance number 37.
Ordinance 37.
Ordinance number 37 is an ordinance waiving
At
bidding
least.
on purchase of sanitation trucks requested by Mr. Jones. And it should be. Okay. Mr. Jones, you may have the floor.
I got 2 bids one from River City for the approximately $320,555.92. And I got another one from Scruggs Equipment for $313,500. I'm asking that we can purchase a side loader garbage truck from Scruggs as soon as possible. Y'all can waive bid and we can get it done tonight. I mean, we're in dire needs of a garbage truck.
How many trucks is it? One?
Yes, sir. I mean, it's 1 side loader and 1 boom truck. I got another price for the boom truck at $163,000.
So we're taking one of them at a time.
Okay, all right.
Is that right?
The garbage truck, how much are you saying, Charles?
Garbage truck is at three, the lowest bid is gonna be 313.
It's brand new.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got the fund.
We purchased it, we got the finance. I didn't get a chance to figure out what the monthly payment would be. I think I may have calculated it to figure it out, but we let's see what it does. Okay. How much? How much?
$93,760.45.
A year? I think that's in line with what they were paying for the last.
Okay, now this one says, you said it was 313.
Yes, ma'am.
For
It's gonna be
scrubs.
313, that's with Scrubs equipment.
This one says 339.
339.
788.
I understood that the one for 313, Mr. Jones, was the demonstrator that had already been sold, and that's why he quoted you the 339 for.
Well, I got one for the demo truck. It was at 293.
Okay, that's the one. we
Yes,
sold.
ma'am.
Okay,
And when we waited, I think when we had it on the agenda, I think about a month ago, the price went up.
yeah, the 339.
Yes, ma'am.
What's different option number one, option number two?
Let me see which one. I think that's gonna be option number one, and option number two, we purchased two trucks. Yes, sir.
So for clarity, for all our listeners, option number one is $339,788 for one truck.
Yes,
Option
sir.
number two is $679,575 for two trucks.
Yes, sir.
And the annual payments, the difference would be $93,760 for option one
Yes.
and $185,542 for option number two.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Jones, or there is not an ordinance prepared for the boom truck
truck.
because we didn't know you were gonna bring it up.
Yes, ma'am.
This ordinance 37 deals with the side load, automatic side load garbage truck.
Yes, sir.
And we're in desperate need for that right
Yes,
now.
sir. Correct.
I move that we adopt number 37.
So is your motion to place order number 37 on third and final reading?
Third and final reading, yes.
Suspend the rules.
And that's for one truck.
That's
One,
option one.
option one.
I got a question. Second.
Motion by Mr. From the second.
By Ms. Crockett,
That
Good.
was in there.
by Ms. Davis.
You know, be mad. It is hard to just.
Second.
Okay, so motion to suspend the rules by St. Columbia, second by Davis, and I believe Ms. Crockett, you had a question. I'm sorry, Ms. Ford had a question. Go ahead, Ms. Ford. Ms.
I
Ford,
was
you
just
have-
wondering, what's the anticipated lifespan of these trucks?
Pretty much 5 years, about 5 years, approximately about 5.
By the time you've been paying for them.
Yes,
How
sir.
soon can we get that truck?
Oh, it take 30 days.
As it relates to service, will they come down and service it?
They tell us that, but when we call them, they don't never show up. And that's with anything we buy, when they guarantee us that extended warranty.
It'll be a violation of our warranty for us to service.
Yes, sir.
And then if they don't come and say it's coming to the city attorney.
That's true.
And that's what, that'd be the next step for us to take.
Yes.
Is this on option one showing payment amount 93,760.45? Is that at one single annual payment or is that monthly? Is it just as a monthly payment?
No, I mean, it's 93 annual, whatever.
And yes,
Okay, so that's an annual projection, but how does this impact our budget in terms of what we've allocated for payments?
Right
expenses?
now, it's gonna be in the budget right now, the trucks we have in the budget right now, are 91,000. We're gonna be finished paying for those in a couple of months. So it's in the budget for 91,892.
What will happen to those two?
is that gonna be the side loader or
I don't know
front
which
loader?
one, I don't know which
I
one.
think we done
These are
paying
front
for
loader.
what, the side loaders, Miss
Yeah,
Sandy, or I mean, nothing we can do with them, they down, you know.
No, she says, what are you gonna happen to if you pay them off? We'll try and sell them, I'm
Yes,
assuming.
ma'am,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
We're still paying for the front loads.
Yes, sir,
City council not approving and selling, you can sell them.
yes.
And what are you asking for?
All right, we
Side
sell
load.
them?
I mean, you asking for side load.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, call for question.
Ms. St. Columbia, you have a question?
Well, we can vote on
So I have a question, is, this lease financial proposal, have they said that they would finance, or is this something, you know?
Yeah, they willing to finance.
I think we pay just one payment a year.
We pay, I think it's about $7,000 a month here. $7,070, something like that.
And the other bid was, what did you say again, Mr. Jones?
The lowest bid was 313,000, highest bid was 320
Oh, what?
for a side load.
Well, what is this we got?
This was 339.
39, 60?
You can go with the one for 313.
We don't have, I don't have. one.
We don't have that one. I think that's a,
The only thing we got is
The
one
339.
313 is the one that we thought was sold and no longer available. That's why we went by the lease that they sent and put in the 339.
This one I got for 313.
that is scroll.
This is for, yeah,
It
this
is.
is for.
Bobby, which one are you wanting us to prove?
313.
Well, where's the, where's,
It's supposed to be in your package. Thank you, Lon.
The,
I don't think we
Well,
had.
I think Ms. Brand is saying that that truck that you saying for 313 is no longer available.
That's the demo is not available. That's the one that was at 293.
so this one is,
So what was frozen here? What did you do?
That's the actual price right there with screw and that, and what you got in your hand, that's if they finance the truck.
So the price go up if they finance.
yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
because the numbers in the ordinance are, were taken off of the lease, the piece of paper that's the lease that y'all have. 339 with 93,000 a year and a balloon payment of 80,000.
But this, if I may, I know the city treasurer's mic, okay. If I may, for clarity. Mr. Jones keeps talking to y'all about a cash price. The financing price is one annual payment. If you read option one, it is $339,788. The amount, that's the amount to finance, 3 years. First payment due February 15, 2022. Payment frequency is annual. The interest rate is 3.72%. The amount of payment annually is $93,760.45, with the final balloon payment of $80,000 due on February the 15th, 2025.
So Attorney Valley, what he has is just a cash price on this, and this is finance.
Y'all got one with the finance.
that's the one you
Yes,
want
yes,
us
sir.
to approve.
Yes.
Then I changed my motion to make, I guess if.
The issue is, I don't think, talking to clerk or the city treasurer, that you would have the cash to pay for it.
So we need to go.
So we're going with, this is what we.
Yeah, this is what we need to go with right here.
Correct. That's what I'm saying, correct, because,
I'm asking a question. It's a question. So.
yes, ma'am, my understanding,
We
this,
don't have $313,000.
We have to finance it. That's the only way we can get it.
Yeah.
Clarity's sake, I think Mr. St. Columbia's motion was,
his motion was to adopt the ordinance,
That we adopt.
appropriating the 339,000, what his motion was.
And we leave that amount, was, we talked about
Option.
finance.
Yes, sir, which is option one, what I just read, the $93,760.45 annual payment with an $80,000 balloon note. First payment due February 15th, 2022, last payment February 15th, 2025.
So that's the motion.
I think the motion's been made and we've had a second. Is there any other discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Ford,
Yes.
Etherly,
Yes.
Franklin, Crockett, St. Columbia,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
An ordinance waiving competitive bidding in accordance with Arkansas Code annotated section 1458-303, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract to lease purchase sanitation vehicles for the city of Helena, West Helena, and for other related purposes. Is there a motion to adopt?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Davis, second by Crockett. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
St. Columbia,
Yes.
Franklin, Crockett, Davis,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Etherly,
There's an emergency clause. Is there a motion to adopt?
Second.
Motion by Crockett, second by Davis. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Etherly,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Crockett, Franklin, St. Columbia.
Yes.
5 yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Crockett, for your
Bobby, what you
information,
gonna do about that?
we pay
that,
$7,657.
truck you talked about? You still work that? So we need one to rent. Okay.
Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 38, waiving bidding for invoice totaling $14,400 for the removal of debris at the burn department complex, Beach and Porter Streets. Vendor is Sunlight Services of Marble, Arkansas. And that is an item as requested by Mayor Smith.
Okay, they're cleaning up the old Kelly Apartments at the corner of Beach and Porter. The invoice is, the first one that came in was, it's $300 per dump that the man that has the dumpster said. He's dumping about 16 dumps a day or every 2 days. The first invoice was $4,800. Then a couple of more invoices came in for $4,800, which all of that, it's a serial contract. It exceeds the mayor's spending limit and it requires council approval in order to pay the vendor. Right now, the costs are at $14,400. The job is not complete. The man is still cleaning. I anticipate 1 or 2 more bills. And I just brought this to y'all so you could, because it does exceed the mayor's spending limit.
Is there any desire by the body to address this issue or?
Why are we cleaning up that area? Why is the city cleaning up that? Because that's private.
The gentleman that owns the property has paid us thus far. I'll have to use this, but I think he's paid $1,000. He's an individual out of Texas. He owes us another couple of thousand. I think he was quoted a price of $5,000 or $6,000 to clean it up. I don't know if anyone has contacted him to tell him that it has exceeded what he is contracted to be cleaned up for.
My question is, how did the city get involved in this?
Because it was a nuisance and an eyesore.
I got a lot of them in my neighborhood.
I think more importantly, the issue for me is, does anybody something cost before they tell people to start working? I mean, it seems pretty simple. You know, look at my car, tell me what you'll charge me to fix it. Don't do any work until you let me know. Because there's no possible way under the sun that this can be deemed an emergency. But yet now we owe for it. And so that's my complaint. I was trying to get somebody to say, let's just table this until the next meeting because I didn't want to put this all on the. And that's a good question. I just didn't, I think in my mind, I said the clerk and the treasurer aren't going to be able to answer this question unless they approve the work. And I don't think they're saying they approve the work. And so perhaps we should just take this up at a different, because I mean, I'm frustrated by the item all in all, because it makes no sense to tell somebody to go do work without asking them what it's going to cost. So there's no agreement other than just go do some work. And now we're being asked to waive the bidding. when we could have had somebody go out, could have had people make bids on this, and then we could have taken it up in an orderly fashion and decided what was gonna be the cheapest route instead of just sending somebody out to bill for it. It just,
Well,
Attorney Banner, what did you tell me about us about serial contracts before?
well, I've said it several times. Mr. Ether is echoing part of what I've said. We should know on the front end what it's gonna cost. If you anticipate it costs over $5,000, then it should come to the council from the beginning, before we ever do anything. The other part about it is, the serial contract ordinance specifically deals with trying to cut like the 4,800 and the 4,800, Madam Clerk has been talking about. It's designed to go right at that, because that's at the heart of breaking up a contract to make it a series of contracts versus one contract. And that was passed, and there may be others that are doing, contracts that we've done that are like that. I do not know. But the issue is, if from the beginning, the project is gonna cost over $5,000, it should come to council from the beginning. And we should know that on the very, very beginning. Even if you don't know it, for instance, the boring and all that, it is a very cumbersome process for the mayor's office. But it's what the city ordinances say. If I were mayor and I'm sitting here and I think that doing something gonna cost over $5,000, I need to put on an agenda. And if I was mayor, I'd make y'all meet every day.
That's the normal protocol
Just
for that.
if I had something over $5,000, I'd be saying, council, I gotta meet about this. Council, I gotta meet about that. Council, I gotta meet about this. And it's one of those things but that's not happening. What is happening is that he's spending money and it's not coming to council, because this is clearly a serial contract. And what a serial contract, the ordinance specifically reads that you cannot break it down into a series of payments and engage in a serial contract by saying, this is gonna be under 5,000, then the next payment will be under 5,000, then the next payment will be under 5,000, even though I know that the total is gonna be over 5,000. It's like Mr. Ether said, the example of going to take your car to a dealership or any mechanic, even a shade tree mechanic. You say, hey, I'm not, you need to let me know what the work is gonna be before I pay you. And so it seemed like in this instance, you'd be getting the cart before the horse, where they're starting to work and then they say, hey, it's gonna be this. And you keep going. And that tends to hurt the city's finances if that's happened frequently. I don't know how frequently this is happening, and I'm not suggesting it's happening frequently. That's not what I'm saying. But the thing about it is, that's what the heart of the serial ordinance was designed to stop. For the purpose of the council knowing on the front end. And every mayor has struggled with this. There hadn't been a single mayor that I've seen that hadn't struggled with this. And the issue that I keep telling every mayor is you got to bring it up front and let the council deal with it from the word go. But the problem seems to be ignored every time I give advice to any mayor.
So, Mr. Attorney, the total cost of the project of each job has to be considered and reconciled by this council. If it
Correct.
goes over $5,000.
Yes, sir. And you also know that at the beginning.
Amount,
That's correct.
right. And I understand that, and that's the way it should be.
Yes, sir. You also know from the beginning if it's in bill 5,000.
Yeah. And not break it down into small bits.
Right. To avoid bringing it to the city council.
Oh,
And so there've been discussions, every mayor has cute explanations of what a serial contract is, but the intent is clear in the ordinance. Read the ordinance, it's been debated many times. A serial contract is a series of contracts.
But like
To
Ms.
get it
Crawford
below.
said, on this particular project, we should not even be involved in that, cleaning that up down there. That's a private situation.
Well,
How did we get involved in handling it?
okay, well, part of what historically has happened is if we know the cost of what it's going to take to
Clean it up.
raise a property, then the city would tell them, this is our estimate, we clean it up and we get done. But it's typically within that parameter. I don't know how you can have an estimate that's only 6,000, but it's been 14 and counting.
Yeah.
That just doesn't seem feasible or reasonable that we would miss an estimate by that large of a margin. But typically, if you wanted a house torn down, the city would go out and look at it and say, it's gonna cost about $4,000. And then you would pay $4,000 to the city, and the city would tear it down in lieu of going through condemnation and all that.
Okay.
And so that's how we get involved, is in that situation where a person doesn't
And the
want to.
man only paid how much?
I think he's paid about 4,000 and he's going to send another check for a couple of thousand,
And he's gonna send another two,
another two.
so it'll be 6,000. But the thing, so now over 14 more thousand, is that what?
It's at 14,400 and I've got invoice on my desk for another 4,800 and maybe
Right.
another one.
So typically, the reason why the city gets involved in this type of stuff
Yeah.
is a property that's dilapidated, unsightly, a nuisance that needs to be torn down.
Yeah.
And the code enforcement will talk to the person, say, we need to tear it down. They said, and people say, well, can y'all tear it down for me? And what's the cost of you tearing it down for me? And that's how the conversations begin.
Well, if by law, if we engage in that and the man pays this amount and it goes over, then we should be by law able to put a lien against that property for the amount that was not paid by the individual, the property owner.
Well, the issue is, I'm not aware of the contract. It was not sent to me. So loosely, I would say maybe you could do it, but I don't know what the gentleman was told. Because
But doesn't our ordinances call for a lien against the property if we go
Yes, sir.
in and do it? And
Yes,
then
yes,
have to
sir.
pay for it, a lien is placed against that
yes, sir.
parcel of land?
Yes, sir. And let me explain that. Typically, what I said, I sent you all an email of this, and what typically is supposed to happen is Mr. Jones, as the public works director, and the code enforcement officer is supposed to communicate with each other every day. And the code enforcement officer is supposed to see what the public department is tearing down, go and take note of how many people are there, whether they're cutting grass, whether they're tearing a building down, and document it.
If there's any
And-
asbestos and all that.
Yes,
it
sir.
has to-
Document all of that things. That's supposed to get with the city treasurer, city clerk to see, okay, Andre Valver's on duty, how much are we paying him? So we're supposed to give them an actual number and keep up with what we're doing on site so we can have the documentation to go forward. Because the lien process you're talking about is really a legal process. And as it being a legal process, they have a right to challenge it. And I have to have evidence that we had X amount of employees there, how much we actually spent on those employees.
Is our code enforcement officer doing those things necessary to give you the legalities to that?
I do not have any of that at this point. I've talked to code enforcement about it. I've talked to Mr. Jones about it. I sent an email to all of you all, including the mayor, about those things. Part of the issue that you all always ask me at these meetings, why have liens? And that's one of the things that I keep trying to talk to code enforcement about. A while ago, I met with Mr. Jones about it. Mr. Jones sends me text messages regularly about what he's doing and what's going on and et cetera. And I try to communicate with code enforcement to say, hey, why don't you go and do this? Now, I'm not code enforcement's boss. He responds directly to the mayor. And so the issue is I'm not getting paperwork to show, okay, Joe St. Columbia, Evergene Ford, Wanda Crockett, and Monica Davis were working at tearing down this building. When they were tearing down this building, they spent this many hours there at the building. And then we had this issue because we had to come in and remove asbestos. And we had to have this and that. And the whole project, we took it to landfill, we had this many tons of debris to remove. I'm not getting those documents. And so I can't do off the lien, and then I can't take it to the assessor's office because the process is they have a right to a hearing before this body. And when they have a hearing before this body would then after say, we want to lien against the property, and it'll be placed on their next year's tax document. So when they assess, there would be a lien and they have to pay it in their next year's taxes.
Well, as city attorney, what do you recommend in this case that we do?
I think
See it coming.
Mayor has to explain it and talk to you. Almost Ethel was trying to get a table, but I was trying to answer your questions. And the issue with it is I believe it's a serial contract, and I think that we explained it. The city council still can ratify it if it's so. But it is a serial contract, in my opinion.
It is what?
A serial contract. Based on what Ms. Ramsey said, it's been 3 different payments of $4,800.
Yeah.
And so it's been broken down in a series of contracts, and we still have
Well, are
$14,400.
you recommending us approve this ordinance?
I recommend right now you table it and we have further discussion at the next council meeting so we can get clarity.
No, I was trying to solicit a motion and nobody made one. Did you?
That was not a second. It died for lack of a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
I did second it.
Did you?
Oh, I didn't hear the second. I'm sorry.
I missed all of that.
Okay.
So we have a motion by Crockett, second by Davis. Just as a point of discussion, I'll throw out this, the $6,000 payment that was obviously, I guess, approved would also constitute a contract that I believe the council would have to approve and authorize also. So all sides of this thing are just completely messed up. Ms. Ford, you have a comment?
Yeah, just a question. Are these ballpark figures that they're giving the homeowner something off the top of their head it might cost is, how can you put a lien on someone's property if you tell them it's gonna cost $6,000 and it ends up costing $40,000?
Mr. Valley, can I jump in and do this?
Yes.
I'm gonna cut, let me cut across the field. He's about to give you a long legal answer. It's not a lien situation because it was an agreement. A lien is when you force it on them.
Yeah.
An agreement is we got together and we decided this is what we would charge. And if I just messed up, if I tell you I'm gonna fix your car and it's gonna cost $500, and then I come back and it costs me $700, you're gonna say, but you agreed that I would pay $5, right?
But no, in that scenario, the term lien came up. Can we put a
Right.
lien on
Right.
The term lien does not apply to this discussion. It does not apply to this discussion. So this was an agreement made, this is when the parties got together. So
Well,
You-
if it's a verbal agreement, and it sounds like that's what it may have
Right,
been.
it's a
then-
verbal agreement, so I can't come back with a lien because I had an agreement. Even if I messed up my part of the deal and didn't charge you enough, we just had an agreement.
Well,
So
can you come back to me for more money when we verbally agreed that it was gonna cost $6,000?
If you hire me to do a legal matter for you and I tell you it's gonna cost $500 and then I do it and then I said, but I need another $500, you're gonna say, oh, you told me $5 and I paid you $5 to do my work.
But there's a practical problem with that as well. I know the Secretary of State agree with that, but here's the practical problem, and this is why we have to discuss these things in greater detail. The Constitution cannot give gifts. And the problem is, this would be tantamount, we're probably written about all that as a gift if it stays at $6,000. And so the Arkansas Constitution will be running afoul of it if we continue tearing it down and saying it's a gift to you. I think the issue is, I don't know why he would have been given an offer of $6,000 without going through all the details. And that we just have to look at it and determine.
Attorney, is there something in place? Is there a process in place where
There's no process.
something's
For the estimates, is that what you asked? I'm sorry, go
right?
ahead.
Is there something, yeah, or agreements?
Agreement should come to me. Every agreement with the city is supposed to come to me, but not all agreements come to me. And so I don't know, I didn't know this agreement existed. And I don't know who would discuss or how it discussed or how it came across 6,000 and 14,000. And that's part of it is that communication that we have to do, but not all agreements are coming to me. And so I can't advise you as to how this agreement was executed, what happened, what were the terms, or any of that. I'm completely ignorant as to any of the facts of this.
And of course, if it comes to the city attorney, then he would advise this needs to go before the city council, and then everybody gets to ask all of these questions on the front end. We don't end up where we are right now in the ditch somewhere, and that didn't happen. There's a motion to table. Second, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Davis,
Yes.
St. Columbia,
Yeah.
Crockett, Franklin, Etherly,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
5 yes.
Next item on the agenda, ordinance number 39, waiving bidding for invoices for equipment to HM30 lift truck service, $10,286 and $8,000 Director Bobby Jones. Ms. Jones Lee.
Mr. Jones isn't here. The city clerk prepared the ordinance for the city attorney. As a matter of convenience, the city clerk did not know that the work was being done. This is being done by Lift Services. They are the ones that work on the Komatsu equipment at the landfill. I didn't know the amounts until I got the invoices in. One finally came that was dated August the 17th. The other came dated October 20th. They're both above the mayor's spending limit.
So clarity, I came in the building and the Madam Clerk had received the information and she said, we need these, and I've already done it. Will you look over these? Just for clarity is what she's
Yes.
saying.
Mhm.
And what it is, the work was already done before she received it. And those are them at the $10,286 and the $8,072.
And what they just said is I had nothing to do with it. Do you guys wanna, I'm sorry, does the body wanna take this up this evening? Let's see the shit. If the body does not wish to take this up, is there a motion to take? Motion by Crockett, is there a second? Second by Davis. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Franklin, Davis,
Yes.
Etherly,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Crockett, St. Columbia.
Yes.
5 yes.
Ordinance number 40, waiving bidding on purchase of new server for the computer network for payroll, accounts payable, documents, etc. Attached is a proposal from our VC3 IT personnel. Units we currently have are approximately 10 years old. Estimated cost is $30,000, and Mrs. Halbert and Mrs. Ramsey will answer questions.
People, I mean.
No, nothing's been done. Your estimate is on the table. This is, the quote is on the table. It was $22,000. The ordinance will be redone to put in the actual amount. If you so choose, if you want to think about it, you can discuss it at the next meeting. The servers are in dire need of being replaced. Mr. Valley knows how old they are. He was here when we got them. And they have just about, well, that didn't come out quite right. I'm sorry. Well, you have been here 11 years, so, but anyway.
Yes.
But there's gonna be about $22,000. I put the quote on your table. $20,214.11.
For clarity, the city receives bulk service right after consolidation.
Thank you.
And so these servers are quite old, need to be updated, is what she's saying.
We haven't ordered them or anything. We haven't paid anything on them.
$2,214.
I mean, I'd like to add, you can table it if you want to, but I'd like to add, because I use it, I guess, the most, particularly for the accounting software. And I mean, it freezes a lot. You're in the middle of doing something, lose some data, it can kind of tick you off a little bit. So, I mean, we do have problems with the server.
My question would be, what is the precise amount of it, Madam Clerk?
Is it this
The-
figure 22?
The quote we received from V3 is for $22,214.11.
Okay. You can write and put that number in there if the council wants to. $22,214.11.
Yes.
I'm glad to see someone follow the process.
If the council wants to entertain, you can move to suspend the rules, place order number 40 on its third and final reading the title only with the amount amended to being $22,214.11.
So moved.
Who is who?
VC3 is the IT company that handles our servers and our computer networking system.
Wait, let me ask a question before I say that. Let me retract that. Well, no, that's okay. Never mind, because is this the only place that you are to bid for a quote?
Yes, ma'am. You want to, we can bid it out. It's not a problem. Be glad to do that.
Is this a company you all have used before?
Yes, ma'am. They're the current company that we're with. We order the computers. BC3 is our software and our servers. We order the computers themselves, the servers, from CDW on the government contract price.
I have a question. You said we,
BC3.
so we got a contract with them? That's how much,
Mr. Valley.
I have not seen a contract from them. This is the ongoing issue we've been discussing with the mayor's office. The mayor does monthly IT contracts relating to IT. We had this lengthy discussion when he first became mayor when the services of Crystal Clear Solutions were terminated. And I haven't seen a long-term contract, and I believe that we spend monthly in a series of contracts that we pay for IT.
and how much, approximately how much is it monthly?
Between 4,000 and 5,000.
But it's the same company for the same service.
It's not really science. It's fee for service because they do different stuff. They have a call desk.
It's called an IT contract.
Right. It is my opinion, and I said it publicly, and I say it again publicly, I believe it is a serial contract and should have been bidded. And, but the mayor's position is IT has evolved and the IT contracts are not long-term and they're monthly, but our ordinance has not evolved and has not changed. And so my opinion then, and my opinion still is a serial contract. The mayor disagrees with that. He says it's a monthly contract, and IT is done monthly. You don't do long-term IT contracts. Maybe the ordinance needs to be amended, but the ordinance is what your ordinance is. That's what it says.
Do you feel that we should get another quote from somewhere else? Be it,
Need to figure out how we pay him.
You talking about IT or this computer?
this,
Because these are purchase of servers.
I understand.
And Madam Clerk says that they only have one quote and it's from this company.
And this is only for 30 days, I see.
Right.
So.
I
mean,
don't
you
have
all to
a,
use it. If you all are satisfied with it, I mean, it's for you all.
I don't have an ordinance number for them, at least I don't see one.
I guess I may not have typed ordinance number 40, but I thought I did.
Like I said, Ms. Davis, like I said before, that the servers are needed. So I don't, if you want to build them out, that's fine, but we are,
The servers are-
but we are having problems with the ones we have now.
I understand. That's why I say if you all are satisfied with it, that's who you all want to go with. I was just thinking about the cost of it and I saw that it is only valid for 30 days. So
I guess if we don't have the ordinance for this, it's a moot point.
Right, I was about to say, to have the ordinance 40. So there's nothing even the table. We can just have it placed on the next agenda,
okay.
next council meeting agenda and take it up at that time. And, yeah, perhaps we'll have the ordinance at that time. We can take action or not take action.
Now, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, may I address a slight issue that's not on the agenda? I emailed everybody about earlier.
Yes, sir, briefly.
Okay, very briefly. I emailed you all in a case involving Dwayne Harvey. I emailed you all the petition for attorney's fees and the petition for attorney's fees. I emailed it this evening.
Oh,
The petition for attorney's fees. Mr. Harvey's attorney is requesting $125,000 in attorney's fees. That's the initial petition. The court may or may not approve it. The municipal league has filed a response to it. The type of case it is, he is entitled to some fees. There may be a reduction, there may not be a reduction, but the city is responsible for 50% if the court approves the $125,000 attorney fees. This is one of the reasons why in all these mediations, we always emphasize to you all that the attorney fees may be a greater risk than the lawsuit itself when we try to resolve all these cases. But I emailed you all this evening, except Ms. Crockett. Ms. Crockett has hers on the tonight. but it's a petition for $125,000 attorney fees plus $3,140 in costs.
There's some items on the agenda that are designated as discussion items. I would ask if you would quickly refer to your agenda, and are there any of these discussion items that the body wishes to take up tonight?
Are these all from Mr. Franklin or someone else? These are all from Mr. Franklin.
Some of these questions were asked during the answered during the treasurer's report, but there may be a couple that were not.
Ms. Ramsey said yes.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Ramsey said,
Mr. Franklin had suggested those questions, and yes, sir, most of them were answered during the treasurer's report.
Okay. I think that completes our agenda for this evening. Being no other business come before the body, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by St. Columbia, second by Crockett.
Yes.
Madam Clerk? Yes.
Yes.